Hi Satyadev, welcome to Film Companion South and congratulations on Uma Maheswara Ugra Rupasya.
Thank you, Baradwaj. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, so before we begin the interview, you're at the office of...
Bahubali,
Yes, no, but I'm saying you're at the Arca Productions.
Arca
Yeah,
Media office. Yeah,
and right next to you is the sword used in Bahubali.
absolutely. Yeah,
So can you just lift it up and show to us like this little
absolutely. Let me
thing
do
that you
that.
have next to you?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh wow! I'm guessing you can't take it out of the casing, right?
Yeah, that's what I just tried, but it's kind of they've actually they pinned it to the frame.
Yeah, they thought people would be trying stunts with it like this, so they wanted to be careful. Yeah. So yeah. So
And yeah, those are the national awards. So for
yeah.
Bahubali. Yeah.
Now, fantastic. You started out in 2011 with Mr. Perfect, and now you have this proper solid hero kind of role. What's the journey been like?
Yeah, absolutely, Baradwaj. I mean, I started off as a friend of Prabhas in Mr. Perfect. That was my first film. So in 2011, and my second film, I played as a friend of Mahesh Babu. Then I played a background actor in Attarandi Daridi. So I was doing all those the tiny roles, which were equally important for me because that's how exactly I started off. Because I was cracking the auditions, getting those small roles, trying to prove, trying to get that big break. So in that process, at the same time, I was also working I'm a computer science graduate. So what I thought was because initially the payment, you know how it works. Uh, we don't get the money easily here. So I had to find an alternate. So I was working in the nights at IBM. I used to work for IBM, and the mornings I used to shoot. So that's how I used to plan my career. Then I played negative roles, sidekicks of the villains, and then in this process I cracked the audition of Jyotilakshmi. Puri
Which is Puri Jagannath's movie.
exactly, yeah. So I cracked the auditions of Jyotilakshmi, and uh, after that everything has been like totally different. As in, because I would say I was getting all meaty roles, roles which, and I always wanted to be this bridge between lead actors, the protagonist, the antagonist, and the very important characters. So that's exactly how I planned my career throughout. And post Jyotilakshmi, that's where it was heading. All the roles that I've done post Jyotilakshmi, Ghazi, Veer Ghazi, Antariksham, all my other lead role films like Bluffmaster, Broche, whatever.
Before I come back to your career, let's talk about this movie, right? It's gotten this is day 2 of the movie's release, and it's gotten really good reviews, and people are really talking about it. When you got the movie, had you seen Mahesh Pratikaram?
Yes, Baradwaj. So in 2016, when the film got released, one of my very good friend, he called me up, Pradeep. He said, "This is a film called Mahesh. Just go and watch it." And then at the time I was working. I finished my night shift and I went to Prasad's to watch the film, and I really loved the film. It was right there, and I thought that was like the best classic that I've ever seen. Until then, it changed my view of But I never thought of doing it, or like it was never there. I just watched it, I loved it, and then all of a sudden Maha popped up. He said, "We are doing this. We're doing this, the remake of Maheshwara Pratikaram." And I would call it a circle. Like I watched it there. I really loved it. I really wanted to do a film like Maheshwara Pratikaram. And I also had a small history with Arca. As a not, I was supposed to be a part of a film, a web series with Arca. That didn't happen. And me and Maha were supposed to do a film before Kancharpalam. That didn't happen. And with Uma Maheshwara Group, everything, the circle has closed. Like Arca, when Venkatesh Maha, and the film itself, it became Uma Maheshwara Group.
So, what kind of person are you in terms of an acting? Because you are approaching a role that was made famous by Fahad Fasil, who's today like acclaimed as one of the best actors ever. So, when you get a role like that, are you like, do you get nervous? Are you saying I'm not using that as a reference at all, or are you seeing it and then saying, okay, these are the things Fahad did, and these are the things I'm not going to do? How does it?
I think the question of reprising the role of Fahad, what he has done in Maheshwara Pratikaram, and me being a personal fan of Fahad, I really love his work. I really adore him. And when it landed in my lap, one very good thing which happened was Maha. You know, Maha, right from the word go, said, "We're taking the story of Maheshwara Pratikaram." He believed it, that we are doing Uma Maheshwara Guru Rupasya. You are going to be Uma Maheshwara Rao. And he asked me not to watch the film, which I didn't, because I really didn't want to watch the film. And because Maha has a different take about Uma Maheshwara Guru Rupasya. And then initially, I definitely had, those moments where the comparison is inevitable. People are going to compare you, and there's something that you have. I mean, you have to put all that aside, and you have to start believing Uma Maheshwara. You have to be Uma Maheshwara. Credit goes to Maha Baradwaj for that, because he prepared me so well. For instance, we had this conversation between us that just before the start of the shoot, like 2 months prior to the shoot, he wanted me to behave like Uma Maheshwara Rao in my real life too. As in, he wanted me to be that subtle, sober guy. He asked me not to react to situations in your real life. I said, Maha, it's difficult because with Hyderabad traffic, it's really difficult not to react. So I told him, see, okay, I'll try. And I tried. It was working because just to react to situation like how Uma Maheshwara in the film is totally different. I mean, you hardly find people like Uma Maheshwara. I mean, of course, in cities, you have Uma Maheshwara, the typical Uma Maheshwara. You find those Maheshwaras everywhere in Aruku, and in fact, Maha gave me a beautiful reference from his own family. He's got his brother. Maha's brother is actually a Uma Maheshwara. Oh. He's I mean, there are a lot of instances when he was explaining me how his brother used to behave or how his brother used to react to situations in real life. And that really helped me a lot. And he was constantly putting me into the role of Uma Maheshwara. He's making me think like him. And, for this movie, I should really say I put my brain at the, I left it in my room and I used to come to the set, straight into the set. And he never used to give me the dialogues prior also. So everything was right there, reacting to situations like how a typical Uma Maheshwara would behave.
Was there any one, because you just explained the approach, can you explain that approach with a particular scene, that like what happened that particular day when you landed up on the set?
Absolutely, yeah. If you actually see, but if you have, our Uma Maheshwara is much more vulnerable. He's he's the lady of the house, to be honest. Actually, he makes things for his father, and he's like a son, and he's also the lady of the house. The conscious decision was put into the tiny, minute details. Like, for example, let me tell you this. There was the scene where Mahesh wants to actually, you try to boast, or you try to take an oath saying that I'll never wear the slippers again in front of the whole the village. But in reality, that goes off, that fades off. The second or third day, you might feel, why did I even do this? You know what I'm saying? So we actually, Maha said, let's put this. He wants to go back, get the slippers. At this point, he'll be watching, the shop opposite to his studio, Swami Naidu's shoe shop. The slippers. He wants to go. Okay, chalo, let's leave it. Let's leave this aggression. Let's leave this, the Pratikaram thing and go wear the slippers. That's exactly when the second lead, female lead, gets introduced. The Jyoti gets introduced, and again he gets back into that Jyoti mode. Things like those, and at the same time.
No, but I'm saying, let's say, at what point did that you learning to be like Uma Maheshwara Rao in real life help? Let's take the scene where you meet Jyoti, right, for the first time. That's when she comes into your studio.
Yes.
So you were like, what was like? Were you acting at all? Were you just got the dialogue, then you were just delivering them? What was it like?
Oh yeah, you're talking about the scenes. Yes. So the dialogues we used to get on the set. Maha, like I've said, it was a conscious decision by Maha to give the dialogues on the set, so that it's more of responding and reacting to the dialogue. So that would be much more natural for us to If you see about the domino effect fight, the one that which leads to the actual humiliation of Maheswara, Maha added one more layer where uh, the Mahesh he bumps into an auto, the same auto guy who comes and trashes him. It starts off with that, and the guy he says, you want me to get down and bash you? And Mahesh says, no, it's my mistake. I'm sorry, it's my mistake. So he never wants to get into anything. He's always running away. I mean, that's one more classic example of what Maha tried to bring in. He never gets involved into things like how the example of his brother. He never used to get into anything. He used to hate fights or the arguments and everything. If someone says, hey, what do you want to get into this fight? Then they might just back off saying that, sorry, it's mine. So actually it starts off with that. And then it goes into that, the banana fight, and then the snowball effect. I think that's one classic example of what I want to talk. I mean, he backs off. The character backs off from all those things. But still, he's been pulled into that fight.
Does this create an extra kind of pressure? Because, usually you take the dialogues or the script home and then you kind of prepare and you kind of have some options of what you would do. But then if you're getting the dialogues only on the set, is this an extra additional kind of pressure?
No, not really, Baradwaj. I mean, in this, I would say, yes, as an actor, it feels nice to get those dialogues before, because we believe in that. We prepare at home, even we try to see, make sure we buy hard the lines if at all they're big. With this kind of approach, it was equally challenging, and also it paid off well for us because Mahesh is, like I was talking earlier as well. When we get the dialogues on the set, when Maha was giving me on the set, there's a fresh take on it, and he doesn't want it to be a by-hearted thing. When you by-heart a dialogue, somewhere you know what you're talking, you know how it's going to react. Somewhere you might have practiced 10 times, and then you might have just come onto the set and you might have uttered the dialogues. But with this kind of approach, probably it was a little more fresh. It was natural that he tells me the dialogue, this is what it is, and he gives me the script paper. I mean, it's like probably I'll get an hour or so to prepare. It was totally different with other films. I used to get it before day, and I used to get ample time to practice. But with here, probably half an hour, like an hour when we get into the set at 6 o'clock, and 8 o'clock is the first shot. I get those couple of hours where I can prepare. I talk to Maha, and he used to tell me this is exactly how Maheswara has to behave. It was really a different kind of approach. I never done this before, and it was really nice for me. Yeah.
Satyadev, we're now, after Sushant Singh Rajput's demise, there's been a huge conversation about this insider versus outsider debate. And for me, one of the things that I've been a little amazed about that it's never come south of the Vindhyas, because there's a lot of, whether you want to call it nepotism, favoritism, whatever ism, there's a lot of it in Telugu cinema and Tamil cinema. In Malayalam cinema, a lot of Fahad himself is the son of a director. It's everywhere. What has been your experience of, this outsider to this journey? And would you say you now consider yourself a bit of an insider?
That's a very good question, Baradwaj. Like my take on nepotism, to be real honest about the things which are happening out there, I never faced it. I never faced it in the Telugu film industry, or like if at all I have to compare myself with a person who already had an edge, let's call it an edge, because they are the sons of the biggies. They definitely have the edge, but at the same time, the pressure of performing with that edge is much more bigger than what we have personally. I can still not perform and get away, by not getting into the limelight. I mean, I can still not perform, and people are not going to really care about it. But let's talk about the sons of the biggies. If they're not performing, they're under the radar. People talk about.
I don't know if you can be that simplistic, right? Because yes, I agree in one way, but then you're also saying that the whole point, one of the main points has been that people, even if they fail, they get repeated chances, to kind of prove themselves. Whereas, let's say somebody like you, supposing you hadn't made an impression in a couple of films, you had to go through auditions, which they probably don't have to do. You mentioned auditions, so I was thinking about that, especially because the Telugu film industry is one of the most dynastic of film industries, because there is like 5 or 6 big families, and almost everybody, which I think is why somebody like Vijay Deverakonda was so celebrated when he broke through, because it was suddenly like somebody made it from the outside, and he was like this little hope or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when you, I mean, like, of course, you say that you haven't faced that, but I'm saying that, do you now feel like you've kind of crossed those barriers and you're now made a place for yourself, like a niche, where you will be looked at if a role comes by? Do you see yourself being boxed into an experimental film kind of zone, or do you see yourself becoming the leads in like bigger films as well?
I definitely think, this is, okay, to be honest,
It's a speculative question, so let's just speculate. Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this film definitely, because with the response that I'm seeing, with the people, tweeting about it, or the calls that I'm getting it, I think I'm there. I totally feel, it took some time.
Right.
It was never overnight for me, because like from 2011 I've been trying, and this film definitely gave me the edge. And people are watching it, people are praising it big time. It never happened with my other films. It's little too early for me to
Yeah.
probably say that I've arrived, or probably just to say that. But to be honest, I think this opens much more bigger doors for me.
So you said earlier that it doesn't matter what role it is, you just, whether it's a friend or whether it's a lead or whatever it is, it's just everything's interesting. But in our industry, maybe less now than earlier, but even now, generally, there is a tendency to typecast. Oh, you played the hero's sister, so you're going to be like a secondary person, right? You play the hero's friend. You in Sarilekani Kavaru, you were like the dying guy. You just had a few scenes, and then you kind of a thing. I'm not denying that you make an impression in those few scenes, but uh, I'm asking about like somebody who's coming from the outside, right? Would you say that it's better to take these small roles in big films and get yourself noticed, or is it better to wait for an Uma Maheshwara Ugrarupasya or a Jyoti Lakshmi and kind of say, you know what, I think people are going to notice me only if I'm projected in like a big way, at least not in a mega star way, but at least I have a solid role and I'm kind of out there.
Absolutely. I think taking up whatever comes your way, but was initially for the newcomers, whatever comes your, because you need to tell the world, you need to tell the movie world that you've arrived now, like, yeah, you need to make an impression. So what exactly happens? It starts with the auditions itself, Baradwaj. When you're trying to crack the auditions, trust me, what actually happens is, the ADs who take the auditions, or the direction department, they actually notice you.
Okay.
When you're trying to perform in front of them, of course, let's say you're not selected, but the impression will be there in those guys' minds, and they'll definitely call you for the next film. So initially, when you never get these big films, or like when you're trying really hard, uh, you get the small roles. You need to make sure you're getting noticed for that, and then you get the next, and then you arrive at a certain time. Like until Jyoti Lakshmi, like I've said, I've been doing everything, as in everything that I like, where I get a chance to prove, not like all the films, but because I was very choosy, I made sure at least if I can get one scene where I can emote myself, I was waiting for those kind of roles. And Sarale Nikavaru, for example, was one such film. To be honest, what I felt was Ajay. The name of the character was Ajay. The story revolves around him. He actually dies. He gets martyred, and then Mahesh sir goes to his house to give the news. So what I personally felt was, when Mahesh sir, wants to give if you actually see, the story revolves around that character. Even though it was small, I thought the visibility is more.
Okay.
More people are going to watch it. If let's say by that time I was known, like if I was probably 4 out of 10 people know me. With Sarale Nikavaru, probably it might go to 6,
Right,
or it might go to 7. That was my calculation for the films like Sarale Nikavaru, the films like Ismat Shankar. The visibility, because of a name called Ram or Mahesh sir or Puri sir or Anil Rao Puri, you try to you get more visibility. That's exactly what I was planning. Even though I had a couple of names to my, I mean, couple of films to my list as lead actor, I felt this was much more important for me to get noticed.
Okay, okay. So you don't feel that I mean, was there in the back of your mind where you like, because you are saying this is a calculation, right? So in the back of your mind, was there like, what if it doesn't work out? What if I spend the rest of my life doing martyr dying on the bed roles? Like
To be honest, Bhagwas, I did get certain other roles as well. At one point, people were calling, there were trolls and memes on my name where, Satya just, he comes and he goes. He'll be there only for 10 minutes and he dies. The character, they kill the character kinds. So I thought, okay, if at all there's another film where they want to kill me, then I'm not doing it. Because Ismail Chan, the character dies. Sarleru, the character gets killed in between. And also there's another film. At the same time, there were three films, and people started trolling, saying that, he'll be there for the next 10 minutes and you'll not see him anymore. Then I thought, okay, I'm not doing this, even if I do it, I make sure, I did get them. I used to get some calls saying, sir, 10 minutes and my character will, sorry. You understand Telugu, Vardhan?
Yeah.
You understand? So they used to call me and they say, we have a very good, interesting role, but you'll be there only for 10 minutes. Or then I know I'm not going to do them. Certainly it was an exception. Certainly was definitely an exception. And I really wanted to, because it was Maheswara.
Right.
And because I know this is going to go places, the film is going to go places. So that was a conscious decision. And after that, I didn't want to do that.
When I was talking to Rana Daggubati, I asked him this question, and I'm going to ask you the same question. I said, is Telugu cinema really changing, or are we just seeing the odd few films that are different come out every year? Is it now a genuine movement, or are we still seeing like it's just like the odd films here and there?
I personally feel it's genuine.
Okay.
Things are changing because I'm getting to hear scripts every day. I'm going through the scripts, and you know what? I've come to 4 other films, Bhagwas. One being a Skylab, a film which was set in 1979.
Amazing.
Me and Nitya Menon and Rahul Ramakrishna were doing the film. It's a period film. You know about the Skylab. It's a NASA space station which went rogue and it was supposed to fall on Earth. So we're doing that film, and I'm doing another, very good love story and like another power, a gangster kind of a thing, which is called Power Peta, where me and Nitin and I is doing it. And also the scripts that I'm getting to hear, they're pretty good. On top of it, let me add, I don't know, because it's a personal opinion, it's my personal opinion. Because of the lockdown, what was, people are getting to watch n number of films, web series, the world cinema, right in front of their, I mean, like in their house. They get to see. Probably, if you're not trying to give them a film which is up there, to the standards, or let's say the storytelling. Because I see people talking about it, they're straight away saying that we want films like these. I personally feel Uma Maheshwara probably could be that film which changes things. And yeah, not only Uma Maheshwara, for that matter, even the films before Uma Maheshwara, for the likes of Broche or Inagaran Kevendi, Nigmatran Shukta, the films like that, they're coming up slowly. Not immediately, but I'm sure the movement has begun, and it'll gather the pace, the moss, and I'm sure everything. We are right at the curve. And also to add, the big production houses like Arca supporting Uma Maheshwara, that itself shows that people are interested in doing content-driven films like Uma Maheshwara Group here. Yeah. And this is a solid example. Bahubali and Uma Maheshwara, 2 different. One is like the other day, Shobhu sir has tweeted. He said one is a world film, and the other one just came out without even notice. Like it just popped up at 12 o'clock. And the common man is Shobhu sir. He's been there for both the films, and
yeah,
that's exactly what's happening now. We are right there, and I'm really happy that it's happening.
Next year will be 10 years that you've spent in the industry. I'm looking for some, maybe like a kind of a philosophy. what has been your biggest learning? Because see, you kind of stepped in, and yet you were holding on to an IBM job. So it's like you kind of, it's like one part of your mind knew that maybe it's not going to work out, right? So it's like you held on to a security. So it's been a cautious kind of journey for you. So in the 10 years, if you say like this is the thing that I really learned, what would that be?
I think my philosophy, or what I personally believed, was I never wanted to quit, but it was no matter what. To be honest, by the time I was quitting my job, I was taking a salary of 1,50,000 rupees per month, and I had a H-1B offer to go to US and settle there. They offered me, and so when I was quitting, I know this is not what I wanted in the
You
first place.
quit roughly which year?
2016.
Okay, so fairly recently. Okay.
Recent.
Yeah, yeah.
As in, like, I worked for 6 years and then I've quit, because, like I've said, it was always my thing to. It was just a support system for me because I never had, because I don't come from a big financial background, so I need money to survive.
Yeah.
Uh, my one philosophy would definitely be, no matter what, no matter what happens, I'm not going to quit this. I really want to make because I personally believe you're not quitting, then you never lose. So you will be there. Probably takes some more time, but if you don't quit, you're already there. You're going to win it. And also, just to say this, personally, I feel even if you put me amongst 1,000 people, like, I can make sure I can make a mark.
No, that's brilliant, because to have that kind of self belief, I think is very important in, especially like an arts kind of field, because there is no real guarantee, right? It's like so I think that self belief is very important. But what kept you going through the low phases? I mean, like, was it just the self belief that kept you going, saying that no, it doesn't matter if it's yet another 5-minute role, that there is a better times in the future? Did you just say something like that to yourself, or how did you survive that low phase?
Absolutely. I mean, it definitely happened with Bluffmaster, because while we were making Bluffmaster, right from every person on the set used to say that it's going to be a huge hit. Everyone, and obviously you get carried away. You think the film is going to work and change. And same thing happened with Jyotilakshmi as well. Being Puri sir.
Yeah.
People used to talk so much, because I used to have a bike, and I used to go on the bike. They say the bike is going to turn into an Audi and something like things like that. And with Bluffmaster, the result was very bad. It was very low, and I felt really bad. That the film didn't work, but I know I didn't fail. Or the film, we made sure we gave our 100%. Probably this is the only industry, but was where you work for a year, you put all your efforts for a year, all that you could do is complete a film.
Yeah.
The result is again different. When it comes to any other field, like, take a sport, cricket, boxing, anything, you work for a year, you become a professional. You can be something. The result is always there. But film industry is definitely, but back of mind, to be honest, back of mind, I felt bad. But I know that the phase is going to go away. Things will brighten up for me, because I always used to say, my friend, I say, no, I have the raw material. I have, when you have, probably the raw material is not selling today. I'm not able to sell it today, but I'm sure it's going to, one day the price is going to get hiked, and I know I'm going to get the due. This is exactly what I used to tell myself. Even with Bluffmaster, all the other films which didn't do well at the box office, I was just waiting for that one film. It's going to come, because simple. I think the base, the base idea, or the base motivational fact they always believe: don't quit. No matter what, just hang in there. Just make sure. Probably somewhere, down the corner, there's another film waiting for you. Let that come to you. If you're quitting, there's no way that you're going to reach that. So this is exactly what I kept saying. Nothing more. Probably that small belief, what I always had. I also, I'm a firm believer of secret. The philosophy of secret. It had a great impact on my life. I would say there are thousands of examples where I've put into effect and it actually reaped benefits for me. And I gave this book to all the people that I know, and I used to talk about it. Secret is one probably the best thing that happened to me. And something, like for example, during Bluffmaster, if I really, if it really disturbs me a lot, I sit in a room, I make sure I read Sacred. I just go through the pages, just read them for a couple of minutes. And it's about law of attraction. Law of attraction. So you like something, be it a positive thing, be it a negative thing, you'll attract it.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Because your thought, whatever emits out of your head, has a frequency.
Yeah.
And so if you're tuning yourself to that thing that you want to get into your life, even that has a frequency. It's just that you both have to match, and then it comes into your life.
Fantastic.
That's it. Yeah. You should read it. It's a very good book.
Yeah. No. I know, because I really believe in positive energies.
Yes.
Over years, I've really come to believe that surrounding yourself with positive energies really helps you, rather than negative, and casting out negative energies. It's like, I know it sounds to some people like mumbo jumbo, but I really, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like something. So I really would look forward to this. So
yeah, sure. Definitely. Yeah. It was wonderful. It actually changed my life.
Fantastic.
And very good example, Baradwaj, because the other day when I was talking to Megastar sir, the Chiranjeevi Garu, he said this, when he was in his struggling days, the initial days, he said he used to avoid, he used to study in Chennai. He used to attend film school in Chennai, I guess. It seems he used to avoid Pondi Bazaar.
Okay.
He was to go there because people used to mock him, saying that, you really want to be a hero, or like you don't have the face to become a hero, something like that. So what he used to do is he never used to visit that place. Rather, he would go to his hostel and he used to meet up with his friends, the friends from the next room or the people. And he said this. He said, these are the people. Even though even though he was not the handsomest or like the most, like they used to call him a hero.
Okay.
They used to say, "Hey, you look great. You become a hero. You're the next big thing in Telugu," something like that. And sir said he used to treat him, like he used to take him, give them some breakfast or like some snacks and all, and sit all day with them to listen to positive things rather than going somewhere, get mocked by people. That's exactly what he said. And you're right there. Yeah, I'm an ardent fan of him, and he was the most inspiring thing in my life. I mean, I used to look at him and I really want to be like him, kind. So it was a great moment for me.
Right, it's fantastic, and I'm glad you didn't quit, and that the raw material has now been shaped into something that everybody is watching. So thank you so much for talking with us, and really hope Maheswara opens better, bigger doors for you. And the next time we talk, you're a mega star or a superstar or something like that.
Thank you for that.